Hey guys, it's Austin Reed back with another video. If you all didn't know, the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series schedule was released earlier today. And this video is my thoughts on the 2021 schedule. Most things were kept the same. A lot did change. First of all, Circuit of the Americas is on the 2021 schedule. That took me a little bit by surprise. I did hear rumors of it joining the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, but it's a shock, and it's probably going to be a disaster because if you all don't know, Circuit of the Americas is the United States Grand Prix. It's the United States Grand Prix circuit that Formula One uses, and I think IndyCar races there as well as I forgot the name of it. I think it's the IMSA, I think it is, the International Motorsport Series of, or the International Motorsport Series Association or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's going to be an interesting race. Hopefully it won't be a total disappointment like the Daytona road course was. And speaking of road courses, Road America is being added to the Cup Series schedule. That's going to be pretty nice. I feel like it's going to be similar to the Xfinity Series. It's going to be absolute chaos, probably wrecks everywhere with no cautions being called whatsoever because NASCAR. But, hey, I feel like Road America should have had a Cup Series date since, like, the early 2010s, or maybe even the late 2000s. But, and also they're adding, what track are they adding? Oh, yeah, the Indianapolis road course is being used. I have mixed feelings about that. Indianapolis, while it is boring sometimes, I still like that they do race on the oval. I mean, it is tradition. But racing on the road course, I don't know what to think about that. I didn't watch the Xfinity road course race. I think it was somewhat good. It was your average race. It was a bit boring throughout the middle of it, though it did have a exciting finale, I think. I don't even know. I'll have to look up more on that. But yeah. And then they have added, or here's something I want to talk about first before I get into the final add-on track. Bristol Motor Speedway is apparently, due to the spring race getting less and less publicity, they're going to temporarily turn Bristol into a dirt track. I think it will be the first time the Cup Series has been on dirt since the 70s? I think the last time they were on dirt was the 1970s. In fact, I read in the article that Richard Petty on September 30th, 1970, 50 years ago to the day, he won in Raleigh, North Carolina, at a dirt track. So I feel like that was the last time NASCAR has raced on dirt. They probably, or at least the Cup Series. But anyways, yeah, that's going to be interesting. And also, I would hate to be sat in the turns because Bristol, with its 33 degrees of banking, it being a dirt track, just you can imagine them drifting into the corner, and the dust will go up through the fence and then right into the stands. Dust is gonna go right into the stands. So if you are buying a ticket to the dirt race, I hope that you have a seat on the front stretch and also on the higher levels, because you don't want to be on the lower levels where there's going to be dust everywhere, unless you don't even care. If so, have fun. But yeah, I do like that they're bringing dirt racing back. I thought they would have raced at Eldora, but it has a small capacity. though it probably would have been filled either way due to NASCAR's dwindling attendance. At this point, I don't know why Iowa still hasn't been added yet. Once again, due to capacity limitations, but NASCAR dwindling in attendance as well has also caused that. Or not caused the problem, but you know what I mean. Iowa, being its capacity, it'd probably be up to the max if it were to have NASCAR fans, and you wouldn't have to worry about over attendance. And then also there are a couple more changes. Chicagoland and Kentucky are off the schedule entirely. That is surprising. Or it's it's mostly surprising. I'm surprised that NASCAR did that to begin with, but then again, with all the crazy stuff they've been doing this season, I'm not 100% surprised by it. And I am so glad that they did. Chicagoland, it was a track built for IndyCar. It wasn't exactly built for NASCAR. And it's boring. I'm just going to say it right now. It's boring. It's a boring track. The only specialty it has is the curved backstretch, which doesn't even matter. The only reason it would matter is if you blew a tire and you could only go dead straight and then you would smash into turn 3, but no one ever did that. And the other track that's removed, Kentucky. Kentucky was just a boring track overall. Though I do have to say it is a little bit sad because last time we went to Kentucky, the last race at Kentucky had a really, really good finish, and it's a bit sad. But hey, at least Kentucky went out on a high note. But and also the last track that they decided to add to the schedule, Nashville Superspeedway. They announced it already in the spring of this year, but I am very, very glad that they're going to Nashville because it's my home track. Nashville Superspeedway is now officially my home track. Not Bristol, not Talladega. Nashville Superspeedway. It's, I think, maybe a half-mile drive from where I am. Or it could be up to an hour. It depends on traffic. But, yeah, Nashville Superspeedway. It's going to be really, really nice. And also, I wonder if they're going to remodel the grandstands, because the grandstands now just look really, really weird. So I wonder if they're ever going to change that. Anyways, so yeah, I'm really excited. And also, on June, the date for Nashville Superspeedway is June 20th. So I am definitely going to that race, without a doubt. And, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But there's also a few things that I did not like about the Cup Series schedule. Now, mostly it has to deal with, or the number one thing, they didn't remove the playoffs, which I don't expect them to remove that until probably the end of the decade, if we're lucky. The reason why playoffs do exist is because they want to get publicity due to major sports. Everyone hopes for the playoffs because that's when true elimination starts. But I really do not think a playoff system should exist anywhere in motorsport. Main reason is, well, especially since the playoffs focus on winning. If you win one race, you're in automatically. A good reason why the playoff system is flawed is it happened in the Truck Series last year, the 2019 Gander Truck Series, or I still call it the Truck Series, or Craftsman, or Camping World, but the 2019 Truck Series playoffs, Matt Crafton came into I think it was the round of 12 is the first round. But he had no wins that entire season. got into the playoffs, and he ended up winning the championship by not winning a single race. He didn't win a race in the regular season, and he didn't even win a race in the playoffs. So that's a big, big flaw in the playoff system. An even bigger flaw, most of us are furious about what happened in 2018 with Joey Logano. He had won. He got into the playoffs by winning at Talladega. First of all, if you win at Daytona or Talladega, it's not 100% skill or having the best car. You just happen to be the luckiest, should I say, because you'll have a lot of underdog wins at those tracks. I'm just saying. Joey Logano, yeah, he is a talented driver, but not nearly the most talented out of the NASCAR roster. And then after that, he ended up, because Martin Truex Jr. kind of let him do it, he did a bump and run on MTJ, and then won the race on that. MTJ said, "You won't win the war." He jinxed us. Joey Logano won at Homestead, Miami, and won the championship. I think Harvick won 6 times that season, and Kyle Busch won 7 times. And I think about half a dozen drivers at the very least had more wins and better finishes and more points than Joey Logano if the playoff system didn't exist, which, yeah, I'm definitely mad that happened. And also, Joey Logano is my least favorite driver, so that really made me furious when he did win the championship. But enough of that. Back to the actual schedule. But what I'm trying to prove there is the playoff system is very, very flawed, and they didn't change a single thing about it. The entire playoff system hasn't changed a bit. The only thing that has changed is that Texas and Kansas switched dates. The thing that I am the most furious about is the finale is still at Phoenix. I'm going to be honest. Phoenix is a boring track. It is a very boring track, especially with the removal of the grass infield that they had in the dog leg, and in the corners they had grass. They removed it, turned it to pavement, and so it's the most bland racetrack probably on the whole calendar, since the entire thing's pavement and then with desert surrounding it. I mean, it actually looks like something from Heat 5, or not Heat 5, but any of the Heat games. It actually looks like something from a video game. The track has some detail to it, but not a lot, and then bland all around it. The only reason why Phoenix is the NASCAR championship is because of its new renovations. They did nothing to the track. You move the start-finish line, okay, that might change the restarts a little bit, but other than that, it doesn't change a single thing. And then you added new grandstands, so okay, interesting. But it's still boring nonetheless. The track has pretty much no changes. If they still had the grass infields from the 2000s and the 2010s, or since the 90s, I should say, I'd probably approve it. I'd probably say, okay, sure, why not? And also, especially if the playoff system hadn't existed, if it was not in effect, I would accept this, because the finale wouldn't really have mattered that much. But because of the playoff system, the final race, its location is, or not location, but the track itself can really define what a race is. For example, Daytona and Talladega, the two are The two tracks are super speedways, pack racing, and later the conga line, and insanity, and pretty much luck-based winning throughout the whole thing ever since they installed the restrictor plate back in 1988. Since then, it's been an absolute mess. Nowadays, it's a conga line for 80% and then an absolute mess at the final 20%. But then again, most races are pretty boring for the first half. But for Phoenix, though, can you guys remember anything notable that happened at Phoenix? Not the race winner, but events in the race? I can only recall two. One was in 2012 when Jeff Gordon wrecked Clint Bowyer due to Clint Bowyer bumping into Jeff Gordon and blowing Gordon's tire earlier in the race. And so Gordon got mad about it and then dumped him in 3 and 4, ruining Clint Bowyer's chances, though he probably wouldn't have won the championship either way. I think he finished like 25th in Homestead, Miami the next week, but it definitely put a nail in the coffin for his chances at the championship. And that's one of the notable events at Phoenix. And the second is in 2011, there was a big one that happened there. I think like 8 or 10 cars were involved in it on the final lap. And I think there happened like 1 or 2 more big ones. But that's when they had the grass infield in the early 2010s. Now it's all pavement. Yeah, that big one that you had, 8 to 10 cars, good luck getting that again. You're lucky to get 4 cars involved in a single wreck. And yeah, other than that, I don't remember that much from Phoenix. The most notable thing from Phoenix is Kevin Harvick winning every single race. I think he won 5 straight races at Phoenix, or he's won like 8 of 10. There was that one finish in 2016 that was 100th of a second. You got that. I mean, you don't really have that much highlights from the track. You had one close finish, one chaotic finish, and one retaliation attempt, or 2. Chase Elliott put Hamlin in the wall after Hamlin dumped Chase at Martinsville. But other than that, I cannot think of anything else that Phoenix is known for. It's known for its shape, but then again, when you have low banking throughout most of the track, I think the front stretch actually has the most banking on the whole track. That's when you have a problem. A short track with low banking that is a mile long short track with low banking, that's not going to be good racing. There's another track that's a mile long and has low banking. New Hampshire. New Hampshire is one of the most boring tracks on the schedule. The most notable thing I know New Hampshire has is probably the wheeled and modified All-Star race from last year that I recorded on my phone while staying in a hotel in Nashville. Other than that, I don't recall anything else happening at New Hampshire. Maybe a couple bump and runs and putting them in the wall. But besides that, the NASCAR finale is not going to be exciting. It's going to be overhyped. The All-Star race at Bristol, the hype and insanity at that race, it was really, really good. But other than that, like I did go to the Bristol All-Star race, but the racing there was pretty bad. The only notable thing, or the 2 notable things from that race, was Bubba Wallace wrecking in the Clash. Everyone booing him throughout the whole race. I mean, and also they cheered a lot when he wrecked. You can take a wild guess for that reason. I don't want to get too deep into all that stuff. And then the second notable thing is Chase Elliott winning. And the crowd They were cheering a lot after that. And then I don't know how many times I heard the phrase F Kyle Busch when we were all leaving the track. I think I heard that I was hearing that in the grandstand. I was hearing it in the parking lot outside the track. It was quite the experience. But the race itself was pretty boring. And that's what I'm afraid the Phoenix race is also going to be. The Phoenix Championship race is probably going to be the exact same thing. It's going to be overhyped. It's like the recent Star Wars films. There you go. There's a point of relevance. Hyped due to the trailers and how the track looks. But other than that, when you actually go see it, it sucks. Also, I'm pretty sure almost every Disney sequel is like that. But, yeah. Moving back to NASCAR. Yeah, it's going to be overhyped. Another race that was overhyped was the Daytona Road Course. It ended up being one of the most boring weekends I've ever experienced. The Xfinity and Cup races... okay, I do have to say the Xfinity race was pretty good. Main reason is because they went 7 wide. No, I think they actually went 8 wide. The Daytona Road Course after a restart because everyone had massive understeer heading into turn 2, I would say. Well, it's turn 1 and then turn 2, I guess. I don't know. But heading into the road course, everyone missed the corner a lot or had massive understeer, and they were 8 wide for maybe a half a second. And that was a good moment. But other than that, I mean, it was boring. Chase Elliott won, and Chase Elliott is my favorite driver, but at this point, I just want to see an exciting race. I don't... Like, my favorite driver winning is one thing, but seeing an exciting race is another. My favorite driver winning is exciting for the end of the race. A good race is exciting throughout the entire race. And I don't want some fuel mileage strategy race. No, I want some actual racing. Partially, you can blame a lot of these tracks being boring because of the cars themselves, but other than that, it's kind of the tracks. Also, here's a couple other changes. I've been going on with this Phoenix being the playoff stuff for like 15 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and end that. But yeah, I am very disappointed that Phoenix has not been changed, so we're gonna have 2 boring championships dead straight in a row. Darlington, it has 2 races. Okay, no one hardly noticed that. And Atlanta has 2 races. Once again, no one really notices. At this point, I don't want to sound like Darlington's a good track, but having it have 2 dates, it's had 2 dates before. There's a reason why it was changed down to 1. But now it's back to 2. I mean, yeah, Darlington's a good track. Atlanta, on the other hand, has been dying. Atlanta used to be very, very good, but over time, it's just got boring. All 3 of the 1.5-mile D-shaped ovals with the trapezoid as a front stretch have been boring recently. Texas got reconfigured, and so you can't pass on the outside anymore. And NASCAR and IndyCar have both felt it since their races, they're not as exciting anymore. Texas is the All-Star race. I'm taking a wild guess that it's probably not going to be an exciting one. It's going to be like the Bristol All-Star race. And then also, what was the other? No, I've already covered both tracks that have 2 races, but... And then Charlotte, they have Charlotte Springs, Charlotte Roval. Nothing's changed about Charlotte. Pocono has a doubleheader in 2021. I am not happy with that. Doubleheaders are not good. The main reason why doubleheaders aren't good is because in the first race, it's everyone conserving their cars, and in the second race, it isn't even that much exciting than the first. It's basically a repeat of the first, but people are actually trying, I guess. Well, probably because the races are back to being a week apart. There'll probably be more cars for it, so maybe we'll actually have 2 exciting races in a row. But then again, Pocono overtime has also been pretty boring, so it's better off as being only 1 race instead of 2. Like, why not have every track except for Daytona, Talladega, and maybe a few others that are exciting, but with these tracks that are a bit more on the boring side, why not just restrict them to 1 day? I don't know why you'd keep them with 2 dates. It winds up the schedule. Like, you can add a lot more tracks. For example, Canadian Tire in Mid-Ohio. If you're focusing on road courses, you can add those 2 to the schedule. Auto Club's being reconfigured entirely from a 2-mile D-shaped track or D-shaped oval to a Martinsville-Bristol hybrid. That's going to be interesting. That actually looks like something from NR 2003. In NR 2003, you can make custom tracks. That idea sounds straight out of that game. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. And then there's a couple more changes to the schedule. What other changes are there? I know I'm forgetting one, but yeah, that's most of the changes. Probably all of it. For those that do want more information and who want the dates to the complete schedule, go to NASCAR.com. They'll have it on that. That's where I found. Or it's either go to NASCAR.com or download the app. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I'm just telling you where I got my source. So go there if you want to see the full schedule. And yeah, I have mixed feelings. The regular season, I feel, the 26 regular season races, I feel like that's been good. That those changes have been good, but the fact that they haven't changed a single thing about the playoffs is what angers me a little bit. And the main reason is because, well, the playoffs is a flawed system to begin with, and it puts and now with the playoff system, instead of the chase, we have the playoff system. The playoff system is like an actual playoff system, like in other sports, in which it's like a tournament bracket, and I really do not think that that's a good idea. The chase, the normal chase, the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, that was bad enough. And now we have the playoffs, which is even worse. So I cannot wait for the day that NASCAR removes that flawed system. I am hoping that they change it by the end of the decade. I would like it if they changed it for 2022, but can you please remove it by the end of the decade? Please, so that all 36 races matter instead of only 10. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.